pleased to welcome to the show for the first time a new guest here on Crowdsource The Truth. Really nice guy who I've just become acquainted with, Zeb Boykin. Zeb, excuse me. It's an unusual name. How are you today?
I'm good. It's my grandfather's name, so just trying to carry that on. It is a little unusual. Glad to be here, man. Getting a ton of messages. I know I've reached out to a couple of people. Try to respond to everyone. Right. I want to take as much criticism as I can as possible, and then if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and then we can just move on from there. But
right.
So far, here we are.
Yeah, and before we get to any questions about what's right or what's wrong, I just want to say you and I have only become acquainted over the past 2 or 3 days, but it's a result of what I think is incredible work that you've been doing. For anybody that hasn't seen you, they can follow you on X at Zeb Boykin, and you've got a lot of posts going on there. People can also follow your excellent YouTube channel, Outside the Overton. And you've basically been going through video evidence and ballistic evidence from the Charlie Kirk assassination, like so many people, just trying to find the right answers. And I appreciate you leading by saying if you're wrong, you're open to being corrected. And that's the way to do it. I just think you're doing great work. And before we get into what you've found, just give everybody a little background on you so they can understand where your expertise comes from, and then we'll get into the stuff that you've been discovering.
Yeah, so I guess a little background on me is, I attempted to retire from this stuff. It's been about 8 years since I've gotten out of the Marine Corps. That was 2017. I guess we could start there. So I joined when I was 19, kind of left college to do that. I went in the Marine Corps, went into what's called Fast Company. It's like a QRF type react force. And we do close quarters combat. We do mount is what it's called, MOUT. And then from there, I went to a couple of designated marksman schools, learned a little bit about guns, long guns primarily. And then that was about 2.5 years. And then I went into what they call the fleet. The fleet is, I ended up in 1-6. And then I think like 2 weeks into that, I ended up in what's called a stay or sniper platoon. And then they sent me off to school not long after that, get through sniper school, and went on a MU and obviously a couple of other deployments earlier in the Marine Corps career. I never spent time in country or anything, but and have complete respect for those guys. But at the end of the day, the training is there. I'd prefer to have just done something with the training, but here we are. Maybe it works out in the end. I don't know. Yeah, that's basically my background. And then from there, I've kind of bounced around jobs on and off, just depending on, we had a shutdown during COVID. I had to go did insurance for a little while. And then, that just wasn't me. So I started a couple of businesses, sold those. And I've been doing essentially full-time podcasting since then, about a year ago. And since then, I haven't really touched any of this. I haven't touched, I think Marine Corps I brought up 3 or 4 times throughout like the last 8 months. And so I try not to lean on past laurels, and I just want the thoughts that come out of my head to kind of move forward. So I'm gonna try and keep leaning into that as we move forward, and hopefully everybody that's found me since the Ballistics video will appreciate everything else that comes from this. It's the same application, right? If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But you're gonna have to prove it to me, because
exactly.
If it makes sense, it makes sense.
Yeah, you've brought forward some great evidence. And one thing that I really appreciate about your approach is that you've got, and by the way, I wouldn't minimize any of that experience that you've just shared with us. That's a lot of education, a lot of hands-on experience with a lot of equipment and tactics. And, you haven't been in country, so there's other people that have other experience that you don't have. But in addition to all of your firearms and military and Marine Corps experience, you've got a great deal of expertise in video production and technology, and you are very meticulous in your approach to evidence. And I appreciate that because we see so many people who are reposting these decimated and thrice transcoded junky videos that really cannot be relied upon. And you, just yesterday, I think, have gone to, correct me if I'm wrong, you've gone to the original uploader, the person who recorded this video on their phone, and you've obtained the original file. Is that correct?
Yeah, so somebody sent me that. I don't have the name off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I've been getting inundated with insane amount of messages, which is, I appreciate, but much of it is extremely repetitive. But yeah, so I got this original video, and I want to kind of mention what you just mentioned a second ago. I feel like I'm uniquely qualified for this. I'm not trying to minimize the credibility necessarily. I just want the evidence to kind of speak for itself, and that's kind of where I wanted to take that, not necessarily minimizing it. But yeah, the video aspect, along with the ballistics aspect, and having the ability to stream, podcast, record, explain this stuff is at a crossroads at which I mean, there's a few people that could do it that haven't really, and I'm not sure why they haven't. But maybe there's good reason for it. But yeah, I do feel like I'm relatively uniquely qualified to do it, and I'm trying to come at this with as much open mind as I can.
Yeah. And so the thing that happened when and by the way, I'm not just trying to be some kind of annoying stickler when I tell people get the original videos. It's critically important from several standpoints. First of all, look, we're not the cops, but we do want to be aware of the chain of custody of this evidence, because sometimes, whether it's, let's just call it inadvertent, because I'm not going to accuse anybody of malicious conduct without direct evidence of that. But when people upload these videos, they add text, they add their tags, it changes things about what we're looking at that can cause false positives. It can cause people, people are looking at every little dot in a low bit rate cropped video that we just don't know who has done what to it. This is why it is important to go to these original videos. And also, in this higher bitrate original acquisition footage, you're going to see details that you're not going to see in these other decimated videos. And so, Zeb, tell us what it is that you've found, because I think it's very critical evidence.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to keep up because, I mean, it's not really their fault. They're just, a lot of people are just behind, and I've explained a lot of things multiple times, but I guess it's just
let me
stuck in my
sharpen the
head.
question.
I guess, yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, but let me sharpen the question. And we should warn viewers that you and I might be looking at some pretty graphic footage. So if people don't want to see the injury, now is the time to click off. But specifically, you have found what you believe to be a projectile in this footage. Is that correct?
I mean, that's what it appears to be. And so, I can only take that as it goes. But then, like I said, I mentioned in the live stream, there's some follow-up from that, from the cleanup, and then from the tampered evidence video that would kind of lend to the idea that we know where the bullet went. So I guess that's exactly what you're talking about.
Here? That looks like an insect maybe flying. No? This
Yeah.
is the thing?
Yeah, no, there's definitely anomalies throughout the video, but the problem is what you have to do is we can guesstimate on where and when something would be where it's at. And so if we do that and then we look and it's there, it's like, okay.
Right.
Okay. So I think that's where we're at right now. And things just move differently. They move like if a bullet's just going to move differently, even if it's moving slow, it's going to move different than whatever butterfly was in the way
right.
it's in.
Yeah, that I agree was some sort of an insect, or it seemed to be at least. The thing that really caught my attention was that you found items that seemed to be pointing at Charlie, and you found two specific frames right before he was hit. First of all, let's just play this video so people can see it, and then I want you to take us through what you found and what you think it might be. Let's just take a look at this. It's not playing. Interesting. Why isn't it playing? Now, the video that you sent me, it initially said it wasn't happy with QuickTime, and I just quickly put it through Adobe Premiere and put out a new MP4 file. Do you know, I don't want you to tell me anything about the person who sent it to you, but do you know what type of phone it was shot with or anything like that?
I don't. I would have to go back. I don't even know who sent it to me. Like I said, I just been
Okay, let's take a look.
sent so much
Here we go.
that
Right. So, do you know how many transgender Americans have been mass shooters over the last 10 years?
Too many.
It's 5. Okay, now 5 is a lot, right? I'm gonna give you some credit. Do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years?
Counting or not counting gang violence?
Great.
So obviously that's the horrendous moment. But what you've found is there seems to be something coming at Charlie right before he's hit. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, so I haven't had a chance to look back at it again this morning, but from somebody super chatted yesterday and brought it up, which in the original video I assumed was a muzzle flash. I'm confident that it's not a muzzle flash, but I think it's better. Let me see if I can pull it up on my end and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Do you have a ability to full screen me?
There you go.
All right, so here's what we're looking at. All right, so this is framed with what I claim was muzzle flash with the other video that wasn't as fantastic quality. And so this is what I was looking at really briefly yesterday. I haven't had a chance to look at it too much more in detail since then. So if we're looking at this, we assumed that this was a muzzle flash. I don't think that that's an assumption we should make anymore.
Step us back and forward so we can see that one frame up here. Uh-huh.
Okay. And so what you're going to see is, I mean, I'm explaining this for the first time, so bear with me as I walk through this, because somebody can take this and triangulate exactly where the bullet came from after this. But what we've been assuming so far is a feet per second of about 3,000, 2,500 FPS for the bullet. That would put him at 140 to 200, give or take, yards. The problem is, I don't think so. I think they were running at like 1,200, 1,100, and it accidentally broke the sound barrier. I think they were trying to get as much speed out of the round as they could to do
Let me slow you down because you're getting a bit technical for people who don't know guns. So
Okay.
you say was calculated that the shooter on the roof was 140 yards away based on people who can do things with the sound, where they're measuring the difference between the explosion of the chemical powder that launches the projectile and the sound of the sound barrier breaking, that crack thump calculation. Is that right?
Correct.
And that's calculated that the guy's 140 yards away, and so you can determine the speed of the bullet based on that calculation as well.
Correct. But the problem is,
yeah.
they're assuming something that shouldn't be assumed, and this is kind of what I was getting at in the original video. We can't assume anything. There's no assumption that should be made across the board with any of this. We have to start from zero, and so if we do that, then we can kind of plug and play with a few numbers, right? If we're concrete at 2,500, 3,000 FPS, then we have an issue, right? I can't place a shooter off to Charlie's right.
Let me ask you this. That 2,500 feet per second is an assumption based on the type of rifle or the type of round. Is that it?
It's based on that's a general. I mean, it's in the ballpark of most rounds. Like your 30-06 is going to run something like that. 7.62, 5.56, 2.23. What it was civilian 308. All of that runs somewhere in that ballpark. And then you have rounds like a 300 blackout. You can run subsonic 300 blackout rounds that run a lot slower. And And because of that, they move less distance in a less amount of time. Now they still do damage, and if it is the case that the round was only running right at the sound barrier, I don't. If it is the case, then it would explain a lot more. It would explain why the exit wound isn't as large as it probably should be. It would explain why the round is able to redirect and change direction so drastically. It would explain so much more. I actually have an email that I need to go through where he kind of lends to the idea of a round that I haven't heard of before, and this is kind of getting out the ballistics are the same. I haven't dove into beyond like military application of equipment, and that the round and the weapon that he's talking about is beyond
What is that round?
What I've looked at. I would have to pull up the email. Let me see if you give me 1 second.
Yeah, sure. It's very interesting. So, okay, so you're saying that we see this, let's call it a flash frame, because I agree with you. It doesn't look quite like a muzzle flash, but there's some momentary, instantaneous activity at what appears to be a window at very close range to Charlie. And so if I understand what you're telling us, that activity in the window and the time at which Charlie is shot, which we can also approximate based on video frames and the duration of a video frame, it doesn't seem to match the ballistics calculations. Is that what you're telling us?
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, you just have to drop any assumptions, right? If you have that formula of getting the 143, just change your input on the FPS.
143?
Yeah. Well, that's what they're running with, which is fine.
What is 143 yards, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the distance that they're telling us the Tyler Robinson was on the roof shooting right at Charlie. But I agree with you. We can't have any assumptions because there's so much anomalous evidence that's been presented. Like people, I consider you an expert in this field, Zeb, certainly much more than me. And, there are other experts out there who disagree with your conclusions. And I'm talking about whether it's an entrance wound, an exit wound. You have opinions that make sense. Other people have opinions that make sense. We've seen demonstrations that also are confusing as far as, is it an entrance or an exit wound? For instance, if it was what the FBI was telling us, this 30-06, it's a pretty large kind of hunting round that would seem to do a lot of damage, more than just a little hole, and should leave, pardon me for being graphic, but a lot of blood on the white wall behind him, shouldn't it?
Correct, especially if that front entrance is what they say it is. It's like, like a shotgun slug would do something like that. You would need like a half-inch round.
Uh-huh. And it's kind of a small hole on the front of his neck, considering the size of the round they tell us that it was. Other people have said, well, if it was an exit wound, why isn't there a lot of material ejecting out the front of his neck? Why didn't the bullet continue out the front? Why didn't it hit anybody in the crowd? It's also very anomalous, wouldn't you agree, Zeb, that the FBI, the coroner, nobody has said, okay, we recovered the bullet from Charlie's body, we recovered it from the grounds, and we have this forensic information about the round itself. It's also pretty anomalous that they went and paved over the grounds and completely destroyed the crime scene. So there's so many things about this that are really confusing, aren't they?
Yes, a lot of it is confusing. Like I said, I'm trying to focus on the ballistics. There's so much out there. There's so much out there that could be kind of picked up. I'm just trying to make sense of what I can make sense of right now.
Yeah.
I don't think we have the shooter on film for anyone kind of tossing that out there. I just don't think we do.
You mean a video of him actually shooting?
The video of him shooting, if he is caught on camera, I don't even know what frame it would have been in.
Well, there's that camera behind Charlie that somebody is recorded removing and seemingly even removing the SD card from it, which is highly suspicious. Why would they rush to break down that equipment? And do the police have it? Has the FBI obtained any of that? This is all highly suggestive that somebody knew this was going to happen and wanted to get that material out of there. Now, let me ask you something about this, because a lot of people have pointed to this friend of Charlie's, I think his name is Frank Turek, and there's this reflection or something, this dot that momentarily appears on his phone. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I don't think it is. I pulled up on stream. I pulled this up, and so if we're looking at this, the reflection for that phone just wouldn't match with what we see. All right, so if we're looking at Frank Turk's probably sitting right here. That camera angle is here. We go to Frank Turk, phone maybe here. And then it's, I mean, the reflection would be something over here. I mean, I wouldn't expect that phone reflection to pick that up unless it's just like unless he has a screen that would like reverse reflection. I don't know something that exists like that.
But isn't it kind of difficult for us to tell the exact angle that Frank is tilting the phone? I mean, we're looking at a two-dimensional representation of Frank and his phone here. And I mean, this is, again, a pretty decimated, it looks like he's got his wrist turned. I see what you're saying about where it would be reflecting from, but we've also got this double reflection that looks, I don't know, kind of way thicker than the glass on the front of the phone. It's a confusing image in a lot of ways, don't you?
Yeah, no, I don't deny it's a reflection. I just don't think, like it would have to be reflected back this way. If his phone is where's that image again?
Here you go.
If his phone is at a slight angle, even let's say his phone is just at an angle like this, and he's on FaceTime, then you would expect, I don't know, something. Is he
on
like
FaceTime or is he recording Charlie?
No, he's on FaceTime. Yeah,
is that what he said?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he said that in his video. He also said, let me pull it. If you can go to my Twitter.
Sure.
And go to, I think it was like one of the last 3 posts I made. There's 2 videos on it. One's of Frank and one's of another guy on TikTok. There's a couple other videos basically saying the same thing. I just picked up 2 of them. It'll be 2 videos. Yep, right here.
This one?
Play that.
Want to hear that? Yeah.
Yep.
As far as like the speculation about how he, like where the shooter was, it sounded like it was, if you look at the video like from like the aerial view, it sounded like at the top of the stairs, like the amphitheater thing, at the top of the stairs, it sounded like it came from just back there, like on the main ground, but it probably couldn't have been. It sounded close. As far as like the speculation,
so we got what that guy said.
Isn't
it difficult though?
Play Turks if you don't mind. His is real short. His is real short.
Yeah. Isn't it difficult though, particularly for civilians, to necessarily decipher where shots are coming from? People who don't have a lot of experience with gunshots, and they can be fooled, can't they?
I mean, as long as we get a ballpark. But I'm gonna explain to you what I think happened in a second. If you play Turks, we'll go back to that single frame that we pulled.
Pop. It sounded like it was close. We later learned it was from over 100 yards away, because right about then, I hear this pop. It sounded like it was close. We later learned it was from over 100 yards away.
So there we go.
Yeah, so, I mean, to answer your question, I mean, kind of yes, not really no. I mean, the sound's the sound regardless. It's not necessarily about the direction. It's about the closest that they try to explain. And so when we're looking at this, frame here, go full screen if we can.
Yep.
This is a frame that matters. This is what I believe, and I don't know, I can't explain how an iPhone would catch this. And I put it out to Twitter for somebody to explain this to me.
Sure.
But this is, I believe this is the bullet accidentally breaking the sound barrier. right? So if we're running with the idea that it's 1,200 feet per second, that's just above the sound barrier. It satisfies like 4 or 5 other inconsistencies, and then we have an accidental sound barrier break. Now the sound barrier break is going to pop right above and right behind where they are, and their anecdotal sound testimony is going to tell you that's exactly what happened. And so here we know
the arrow.
This. All right, so let me do this then. I'll show you this. I put this up on Twitter too. Airplane sound. Excuse me. So this is. Here we go. This is an airplane.
Right, breaking the sound barrier.
Breaking the sound barrier. I think we've all seen something like this before.
Yep.
This is that on a bullet.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I mean, look,
I don't know how an iPhone would catch that. Now, this is the same angle that caught the other bullets on the on leave and exit. Now, by the time it was leave and exit, it would be moving significantly slower, right? If it's going through tissue, probably bone, definitely soft tissue, and then ricocheting off of something else or being redirected by a water or something from the water bottles. I just don't have evidence of that right now, but this is the frame before. Another thing I want you to note is this frame here. Don't look here, right? If this was a reflection, we would expect it to be cut off on the line of. Sorry, I got this thing in the way. We would expect it to be cut off where there is no window to reflect.
The frame,
but it's not.
Reflect.
It's
right.
Floating in 3D space essentially. And so if we go back and forward, I want you to note this reflection here. And so if somebody wants to take this image, you can gauge the reflection off of this to the reflection on this, throw it in a 3D model, and get essentially an exact spot. All you have to do.
Wait. Show us that again. Reflection off of, what are the 2 reflections you see?
So this is a reflection here. Okay, so this is your 3D space. This is floating in the middle of the air.
Yep.
And then so we go back. This is a reflection here. This is reflecting this. This is reflecting this.
Interesting.
This is also reflecting this. So we know this is in 3D space. You can triangulate this if you wanted to and get a almost an exact idea of where this bullet is. Now, if you take this bullet and we assume that it is breaking the sound barrier, all you have to do is take your 90 and then your 45, run it back into a 3D space, get almost exactly where that shooter would be. Now again, that's assuming this is breaking the sound barrier. I don't understand how it would pick it up. I don't know why they would.
Let's talk
I don't
about
know
that
why they would even risk running that close to the sound barrier either. It's a slip up. They either overloaded, the ammo was too hot, they loaded it for something else, it was too hot of degrees that day, the barometric pressure was a little too high or low. There's so many variables that go into it, and if you're flying, if your sound barrier changes by density too. So if you're running at a assumed sound barrier, and that sound barrier is a little higher or a little lower, that's going to break. And then you have on top of that, you have all the variables that go along with the speed of the bullet. I mean, there's too many variables to try and play so close to the sound barrier. You're going to slip up. It's just going to happen unless I don't even know how you calculate all of that. I don't even know if it's possible, to be honest with you.
Okay, let me ask you something, because you just posed a question. How could an iPhone capture this? And so when anything breaks
let me be more specific. Okay, go ahead. I guess you're about to answer it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, when anything breaks the sound barrier, what it is doing is the object itself is moving faster than the air and the sound around it, and it creates this shock wave, an N wave. It's collapsing the vibrations from its own sound, and we can see it well in this image here. And so what I believe it's doing, this is called the Schillerin effect or something like that. But I believe what a camera is seeing is moisture in the air, and obviously it's something reflecting light. This is not any kind of special camera. This is a regular photographic camera, but it's set with a very, very high shutter speed to capture this extremely instantaneous event. And so you can see there's like multiple triangles here. That's an N wave of the airplane itself crushing the sound wave, which is vibrations of air. So it's vibrating moisture in the air, it's vibrating everything around it, and the camera is capturing that instantaneous activity. Now, something that I put on Twitter last night, a little bit snarky in my New York kind of way of doing things, but I put it up there to help educate our mutual acquaintance, Mr. Gary, as to some things that he doesn't know about how cameras work. Now, in the case of an iPhone or any camera at all, there is an exposure time that's determined by the shutter speed, which is independent of the frame rate. And what I was demonstrating in this video is, even on an iPhone, so we can see it right here in this frame. In this frame of the video, I'm showing that right now, the shutter on this iPhone is set to 1/60th of a second. In the lower left of the frame, people can see that. These settings are normally set automatically. I misspoke in this video, but they're normally set automatically when you use the regular camera app on your iPhone. What this professional app that I'm demonstrating in the video does is it allows you to take control of these electronic functions, and you can manually adjust the exposure time by increasing the shutter speed. And it goes up to quite high levels. You can see I'm increasing it here. This 300, 400, 500, you see it's getting darker. You can take, on this particular phone, you can set it to 1/5000th of a second, which is incredibly fast. It's a very, very short period of time. And I believe that would be sufficient to capture that, the Schillerin effect of the airplane or the bullet or whatever it is, compressing the air and the moisture around it, that shows you that visual representation of something breaking the sound barrier. They're not actually breaking anything. That's just a term of art that was invented when supersonic flight and things like that became known. It's the object itself physically creating an N wave and crushing its own sound waves. So when someone's standing outside on a bright day, like it was the day that Charlie was killed, the camera, even in video mode, is going to automatically adjust that shutter speed to control the exposure. And if it's a bright enough day, it's going to use the shortest shutter speed available to make sure that the exposure is balanced. And that could explain what you've found here.
Yeah, I've never seen a bullet do it. I mean, theoretically it does. I've shot subsonic. I've never played with subsonic though. But it would also,
supersonic, you mean here?
No, I've shot subsonic.
But this would have to be supersonic to do what we're seeing.
Right, but it has the intention of subsonic, is kind of what I'm getting at. The intention was subsonic. It would have had to be. How do you know the intention,
though? The logical intention.
Because if it wasn't the intention, it would be running at 3,000 FPS. If the intention wasn't to run subsonic, it would have broke the sound barrier coming out of the rifle. And it's not. It's breaking the sound barrier mid-flight, or either
and
carrying.
Does it accelerate as it leaves the gun?
Not typically. The answer is basically no. But it's possible, one, to carry the sound barrier. I don't know if you've watched any of the plane videos. It can carry a sound barrier if it floats at that speed, whatever that speed is. I don't know,
when you say carry the sound barrier, you mean to continuously break the N wave? I think what's happening there is the video.
Just Google video airplane carrying sound barrier video. It'll come up. I think that's what it's doing. It's possible it's sped up. I don't believe so. What we call yaw. The bullet is doing this mid-flight until it stabilizes. Like, think about when you throw a football and you have a spiral. that round is going to spiral eventually, but when it comes out of the gun, it's being overspun to stabilize, and it's yawing until it does that stabilizing. And so I don't know. I mean, we're playing with like fragments of speed here.
And we're also guessing a bit. Let me just address what you're saying about carrying a sound wave, because I want to make sure people understand, and this is my opinion, I could be wrong as well. But a sound, carrying a sound wave, again, is a term of art. If I had to guess, what will be happening in the situation that you're describing is that there is this N wave. We're talking about air pressure, and we're talking about a physical item pushing against the air pressure that breaks it. An N wave is a sound wave collapsing on itself. So I don't think it could really be carried. I think there would be a pressure buildup and then it snaps, and a pressure buildup and it snaps. And if you're seeing a video, no?
I'm gonna find you a video.
It stays equal and it just pushes it?
Yeah, it carries it. It carries it the end. As long as it's maintaining that speed, it'll carry it. Here, perfect. All right, let me pull this up for you. Yeah, as long as it's maintaining speed, the speed of whatever that sound barrier is, it'll carry it. It sort of
follows behind it like that.
I'm gonna slow it down just for sake. And so it starts to break, and it just carries a sound wave with it as it maintains speed.
It's like a wake on it, almost behind it. Okay. All right. Well, but so still, if it were doing that, and the phone that would be visible to a human eye if you saw the plane flying like that, no?
Yeah, to the plane. You wouldn't notice the bullet.
Not on a bullet because it happens instantaneously.
It's too small, it's too fast.
If it flew right by you, because it's moisture in the air that's doing that. Okay, so it still applies. The iPhone, if it happens instantaneously and the iPhone has a shutter angle of 1/50,000th of a second,
well, you could get an idea of the frame rate of the iPhone. All you have to do is go out like midday when the sun's like hot, say 220, Utah, no clouds, put a white tint, really reflective in front of you, and a couple people with extremely white hats and white shirts. All right, so if we're looking at this, where are we at? Where's my mouse?
It's going to be a very, very high speed.
It's going to, yeah, because it doesn't want to capture the sunlight. This is why some of the color is blown out, because it's so fast.
Well, it's because it's using that high shutter speed to reduce the exposure time to balance the exposure. Because unlike a professional camera, an iPhone doesn't have an aperture that can be varied to control the amount of incoming light. It has to use exposure time to balance the exposure. So when you're outside, it's going to really make a short exposure time so you're not overexposing the image. That would explain why it would capture that. So even at 30 frames per second, within that individual frame, the exposure time is so short that if it is breaking the sound barrier there, it would get it. I think you've got it. I think that's got to be what it is, because you go back to where you can see the reflection simultaneously, because that's a reflection of a physical item. Zoom in on it as much as you can, if you could, where we have the breaking of the sound barrier allegedly and the reflected item, because the reflected item just looks like a dot, right? Move your arrow.
It's a blur.
Yeah.
It's right here.
Can we zoom in even more on that?
Yeah, it gets pixelated really quick.
No, that's okay. And then flip back and forth. So we see and go back even before where the dot isn't there.
Yep. And so you would expect maybe it would reflect off of here. This is what we're looking at. If there's something there, but it's not. There's no reflection here. There's nothing happening over here where we would expect the reflection to be.
And step forward a few frames. Why is that dot staying on the window so long?
It might be some bleed over from frames. I don't know. See, it
should be instantaneous with that.
I would think so. You can go find out if well, not necessarily, right? So if we're breaking the sound barrier, there could be some leftover. It's not going to
stay in the same position for 2 frames.
It could be some leftover vapor trail.
Not as a sharp dot like that.
Why not?
because
You know what vapor
what I
trail
was-
is? Here, let's look vapor trail up. That would answer your 2 frames. I think it could be bleed over from the phone because the phone does process. It processes
That's
images.
true. That's true. It could be that because the dot is that's right. It could be a compression artifact.
But more
that the
likely
dot-
it's this. Vapor trail bullet. More likely it's this. You just
the
can't
vapor
see
trail
it.
though would be 3-dimensional in the direction of the projectile. The dot is definitely suggestive that it's capturing a projectile like a bullet.
It would be hard to catch the vapor trail from the kind of the angle that they're at, but I don't think it's impossible. All right, so if this is a 338, this is a large round, so it's going to create a bigger vapor trail than what we're expecting. Well, if they ever shoot.
But a vapor trail is going to be a line. We see a dot.
No, not necessarily. This thing's still at 2.5.
Not really seeing it.
It'll move slow. Give it a second. You'll see it. It's fun to look at. Am I echoing? Yeah. All right, fixed.
We got
Do I
2
sound bad?
videos there. No, your
Do I
sound is
sound-
good, but
I sound
sound
better
is
now?
good. You sound totally fine, but we've got 2 videos there.
You got 2 videos on my
It's like
end?
on top of itself.
Let's go. Apologies. What was I using a second ago then?
Hey, I think maybe one screen has been pushed over onto the other or something.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry about
there
that.
you go. No, it's okay.
Yeah, so here we can see a vapor trail. Well, he hits. This is bad quality video. You're probably not going to see on your end. Let me see if I can find a better one. Anyway, you can Google vapor trail, and it's very...
It's trailing behind the bullet as it's fired, right?
right, and so you can
Yeah.
see it in this one.
I think I agree with your second theory that you just posited, because a vapor trail would be a line. The fact that we see a dot reflecting in the window, I agree with you. That's likely to be the reflection of the bullet, because the bullet, just like when we see in those images of the plane breaking the sound barrier, the plane looks like an airplane and the sound barrier looks like blurry vapor, water vapor. And so if we're capturing the bullet, let's go with this theory for a second. If we're capturing the bullet breaking the sound barrier, and that's the sort of water vaporish looking stuff that we see, and we simultaneously see a sharp image of a bullet reflecting in the window, that's consistent with a 1/50,000th or 1/70,000th of a second exposure time. And the fact that we see the bullet for 2 frames, I agree with the second theory that you posited. That could be a residual frame artificially generated by the video compressor because the data is moving so quickly, it hasn't updated the frame yet. That could explain 2 frames of what appear to be a bullet when there really should be only 1, because it's frozen there and it's high contrast compared to the window that it's reflecting in. There's not enough movement for the video compressor to register that something's moving. It's just there 1 frame, gone the next. So we don't know where the keyframes are in that video, and that could explain 2 frames of it. That's the thing that people have to keep in mind. We aren't looking at reality. There's a lot of artifacts that are introduced by videos, and even when you have the original recording, it's still a compressed video as recorded by a cell phone. So you don't have any of the metadata as far as what model cell phone it was, because you can find out.
I'll go back and try to find the email that somebody sent it to me. But like I said, I've been getting like thousands of. I've been trying to sift through it all too. Trying to respond to most people, it's just it's hard
Zeb,
to get
this is
through.
incredible work that you're doing. This is just very well done. And, even when I just posted the link that you were going to be on the show, somebody who I don't know was like, no, don't have him on. This guy's theory is wrong and you're not helping. First of all, nobody can tell me what to do. Second of all, I'll form my own opinions. I think Zeb is doing incredible work. I hope Crowdsource, the Truth viewers, will follow him at Zeb Boykin on X, and also definitely subscribe to his YouTube channel on youtube.com/outside_the_Overton. I think you're doing phenomenal work. And as you've said many times, these aren't conclusions. This is a developing hypothesis, speculation based on the evidence. I appreciate your diligence in working towards the best evidence and the best hypotheses. I know you don't have a ton of time. You're very in demand because of all this incredible work that you're doing. Is there anything else you think we should talk about before you go?
No, I would like for some people to kind of break down the audio a little bit better, without the, like I said, some of the mainstream assumptions that we're already making. That would give us a lot better idea. I mean, it shouldn't be too hard to triangulate audio given how many cameras we have to try and get an idea. I think the assumption needs to be played with itself, right? So if we have a formula, we need to have our variables, right? And if we don't have a 3,000, if the 3,000 feet per second isn't a variable, then I don't think you're going to get the answer. We need to allow that to be a variable, and that'll get you a lot closer to where we should be. So
I do have
where
one
it's
other
shot
question
from, I
for
don't
you.
know.
I do have one other
Go for
question
it.
that I just was reminded of myself. So you had posted a video, I guess yesterday or something, where you sort of saw something over here behind Charlie. What do you think that was?
So again, if we just assume that he shot from the rear, which given kind of what we have, if we assume he was shot from the rear and we're looking at this, we would expect a bullet to come out or the side or the rear, somewhere over here. We would expect a bullet to come out the front, and we just don't see it. But what we do see is a few frames later, right? So if we have, or it's about almost the same frame. So this is the same frame. He's hit this frame, or at least the reaction to him being hit is this frame.
Right.
And it was kind of like I was trying to explain to Chad. You have to give me like a frame or two. Like we're talking fragments of a second here. And so you have to give me a frame or two for like mass to move. So if he's hit, it's not going to be the same frame the bullet hits him that he
Humans
reacts
move a
to.
lot more slowly than machines and video cameras, right?
Well, the mass is going to take time to move,
Right.
and the bullet is already moving, and so the mass isn't. It's a little bit of a physics equation. Somebody could probably run that too. That has a little bit more knowledge on the numbers than me. But if Charlie Kirk is mass and he's not moving, and something hits it, it's going to take time to move the mass.
Inertia, of course.
Yeah. And so we're looking at right here. We have this little dot, which is the same frame that Charlie's hit. Right. This is next frame. Frame before, and then we go, let's just call this 1. We'll go 2, 3, 4. And so if we're looking at 1, he supposedly is hit here. We don't know. And then so 2 would be, we see something here, and we can see something here. And you say it's going the wrong way, and I would agree with you. I would agree that it's going the wrong way. But what would expect?
Hang on. I think I can give people. Why don't you go full screen on you? Because I think I can give people a clearer view of this from what I've got here. You've got a dot right there, and as I go back one frame and forward one frame, see that dot with this guy's arm is moving, right? That dot, and now I'm going forward again, and then Charlie is hit. And you also seem to have found that dot. It's sort of. Isn't it back here
hair.
somewhere?
It's in his hair. Go on the right.
We got to really. What I'm going to do when you and I break from this, I'm going to do one of my zooms in on this dot. Here's the dot.
Go next frame.
Yeah.
To the
back.
No, forward 1.
And then he's hit. Oh, I see. Wait a minute. So wait a minute. Why is there another dot there now? I see it right on this guy's hair. That's so weird. And all the way in the upper right-hand corner, that dot.
Yep.
Okay, I got to do an After Effects study of this, but I mean, Zeb, this is incredible that you've obtained this original camera footage. I mean, this is why I'm always such a stickler for, we have to have the original footage, because otherwise we're just not able to make any kind of sensible evaluation. So you've got basically, I'm stepping back here. Okay. This is before Charlie is shot. Let's go one frame at a time. I'm going forward now. Charlie is talking. We see, here's the dot, then he's hit, but then there's another dot. Now, you know what? That could also be a video compression glitch of some kind, because we've got something moving very, very quickly, and that does match the trajectory.
Well, it would be after the shot, and so we would expect that if it's an exit wound on the neck, which I think we are.
But wait a minute. It is
going down.
Appearing on the frame. It is appearing in the video after the shot, but it could be a video codec getting confused about where something was and now isn't.
I think it's too much. You're trying to grant too much. What most likely happened is go here. What most likely happened is it exited neck. It exited down and hit something very hard, or it hit water. Right, so water is very unpredictable on ricochet, and so is.
Wouldn't this explain why his shirt is reacting? So I'm going back now. Let's look at this.
So the shirt react is most likely because of the wire from the headphone.
But I'm saying, hang on, stay with me a second. So we're back before he's hit. I'm stepping forward now. Here's our projectile. It penetrates Charlie and hits the shirt, and it jumps. He's already reacting right here. He's been hit. And it's coming out the front. It's heading down towards the ground where it's not going to hit anybody else. And now he's been hit. It's continuing forward. The dot on the guy's hair, I'm thinking, is a video compression anomaly. And now Charlie has an exit wound on the front of his neck that starts to bleed.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you're getting that, to be honest with you. I don't deny a compression, but I would say that you're just too many frames off. Not only too many frames off, but you're assuming a second shooter now. I don't think there's no evidence of a second shooter.
So what is that thing that seems to hit him?
It's the bullet on exit. It's going the wrong way, right?
So you're saying as we go forward, the bullet is coming from the front of him?
No, as we're going forward, the bullet is going away from him. And so give me a full screen again. I'll explain that piece. Excuse me.
Sure.
So we see bullet going away from him right here, right? So you just played that. Fair. So it exits. Let's just grant me that it bounces off down here. Something it bounces off. I haven't found it. I have a video, but it's very, very low quality of this area. There's nothing there. Anyway, it hits. Let's just assume it bounces off and it goes up. Let's assume. Just grant me that it's going this way. Boom, it's going this way. Boom, it's going this way. Going this way. So the question is, what's up there? Well, if we're looking at Charlie here, it bounces off and then it bounces back up here. We would expect something maybe around here, where bullet recovery would probably be. And so this is what we see on cleanup. On cleanup, we have this is just a frame within them pulling down the vinyl off of the windows. The question is, why are they pulling vinyl down? I mean, I understand cleanup, but vinyl, kind of a question mark. We flow into this. This is a video of the tampered video evidence.
Right.
This guy on this camera, obviously sus, obviously needs to go to trial, obviously needs to be put in prison.
Yeah.
But he's not the focus of the video. The focus of the video should be this guy. And so I'm gonna play this, and you can watch it.
He's taking the SD card, right?
Nope. Don't watch camera guy. Don't watch camera guy. Watch black shirt guy. Watch black shirt guy.
Can we go full screen on that piece of video?
Well, I'm trying to zoom in on yours.
That's from our buddy. That's Adam Bartholomew, right?
Yeah. All right. So, and this is if we need to watch black shirt guy. He's telling people to get away, which is fine. Don't come near the crime scene. I agree with that. We keep going, and we point up. What are we pointing at? Did glass break? Did glass fall down? Why are we saying to get away? I get stopping them at the gate. I get telling them not to come here. Why are we shooing them away and then pointing up? It's kind of my question. and then the frame, and then it continues, and then there's a couple of guys that kind of walk this, but they kind of walk around this way to get through. So, I mean, like I said, I would need like before and after pictures of this.
So you're saying that glass was broken and replaced?
I'm saying it doesn't make sense. I'm saying, where's my, hold on. I need an image flag courtyard. I pulled this on stream with Owen Schroyer at one point, and here, let me put it on screen. At one point, and I zoomed in. I haven't looked at it much more since then. But if we're looking at the glass and we're expecting there to be something there, something different, maybe to reflect, because new glass reflects different than old glass and everything like that. I mean, this is what we're looking at. I mean, you tell me.
People would know if they replaced a window. I mean, there's going to be videos. We can go to Adam Bartholomew's video and see if there's any images of glass broken after Charlie.
Why wouldn't they do it at night?
But I'm saying Adam Bartholomew's
video. I mean, glass
video is
replacement
minutes.
is like that would be a decent overhaul,
right,
and noticeable.
And
so what I'm telling you is, I don't.
About it.
Here, this is breaking. If you want it, this is different glass, or at least what I believe to be different glass or something. Right? This is a specific reflection. It starts to appear like it was cracked or broken. I don't know what this anomaly
Looks like
is, right?
trees
So if we look
reflecting in it, no?
This is a tree.
We can check Adam Bartholomew's video to see. He's videoing that whole courtyard minutes after the incident. So if the window's broken, it should show up, no?
I don't think the video is good enough. I mean, this is like high quality camera. This is Fox News.
Well, at this part, I think we need to continue investigating. It's interesting. You've raised so many awesome points here, Zeb. I don't know about this broken window. We'll have to look into that. My feeling is that second dot is an MPEG ghost. We got to look into that. We got to look into that further. Is super duper work that you're doing. Anything else you think we should cover right now? I'm just sensitive. I know you said you only have an hour.
No, I think that's about all I got right now. I'm working on, like I said, I got to find that email for basically a different type of round than I've ever heard of before, and I'll have to do a little bit of search on that, because I don't. Again, I mean, everything that I know I do is just it's military based, and so it's pretty standard NATO, and so beyond that is going to have to be a little bit of research done. I think we have time, so
absolutely. Well, certainly, I hope you'll stay in touch, and I'd love to have you back on the show. You're doing so much awesome work. I want to remind people that they can follow you on X at Zeb Boykin. We've got it on the screen right there. People can also follow you and subscribe to you on YouTube, youtube.com/@OutsideTheOverton. People can also join your YouTube channel and support your work. Is there any other website or anything that you'd like to promote as far as people who want to support you? I know it's very difficult to keep this work going, and when this is your kind of only job, it's important for people who appreciate the work to support it.
Yeah, any way you want to find me is probably going to be in the YouTube video descriptions. Everything's listed there, and then obviously get a hold of me on Twitter. I don't plan on getting banned from Twitter. YouTube may be a different story. I'm also on Rumble under Zeb Boykin, and then beyond that, I just want to shout out Stone Choir podcast. Everybody needs to check that out. It's a theological podcast, and if we're talking about a value for podcasts, I think that's the way to go.
Very good. Zeb, thanks so much for joining me. I want to remind people they can sponsor Crowdsource the Truth by going to subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth, patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth, crowdsourcethetruth.substack.com, or by following me on X at JG_CST. TT, and subscribing there. Zeb, thanks so much. I hope to see you back on the show really soon. Excellent work, excellent explanations, and have a great day. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Thank you, sir.